Y News. The Bureau of Customs reiterates strict implementation of non-intrusive inspection of Balikbayan boxes, especially this holiday season. PNP-AIDG says fellow Filipinos have been instrumental for the Abu Dhabi Police in the arrest of drug lord Kerwin Espinosa.
The Philippines and Brunei see a stronger future together in terms of trade and investments following President Rodrigo Duterte's bilateral meeting today with Sultan Hassan Bolkiah. The Taiwan government clarifies the privileges of children of foreign nationals or foreign professionals aged 20 and above.
Typhoon Karen exits the Philippine Area of Responsibility as Typhoon Lawin enters. And UNTV anchors join the cast and give their best in Kuya Daniel's advocacy film, Isang Araw Ikatlong Yugto.
Y News begins now.
UNTV News and Rescue Command Center. This is Y News with Angelo Castro III, Gerry Alcantara, and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. Malacanang is yet to determine if there is a holdover or change of barangay officials following the postponement of barangay and SK elections this year. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte has mentioned many times during his speeches his desire to postpone the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections, which is supposed to happen on October 31, 2016. This is to avoid the selection of barangay officials who are involved in illegal drug operations, especially since, according to intelligence reports received by President Duterte, there are thousands of barangay captains who are drug dealers, users, or pushers. For now, the executive order awaits the signature of President Duterte to formally postpone the elections. Malacanang says this is what's lacking, and the president may possibly sign it upon his arrival from a state visit in China.
That's already all part of the. I think it's already in the pipeline. The signing of the postponement. It's already in the pipeline.
However, Malacanang is not yet sure as to whether the president will allow the extension in service of incumbent barangay officials or he will appoint new ones.
That's something that we need to check with the ES. Okay, if it's going to be holdover or will be new appointees. Okay.
House Bill number 3504, which was approved by the lower house, moves the barangay and SK elections to the fourth Monday of October 2017. It also states the term extension for incumbent barangay officials due to the postponed barangay elections this year. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
The Bureau of Customs underscores the agency's strict implementation of the non-intrusive inspection of Balikbayan boxes as a part of its campaign against corruption. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
OFWs and netizens were enraged last year because of the reported Balikbayan boxes, which were opened without the consent of the sender and the recipients. They have blamed the negligence of the previous administration of the Bureau of Customs for those incidents. With the current administration, Commissioner Nicanor Faeldon says the agency is strictly implementing the non-intrusive inspection of the Balikbayan boxes.
Hindi po bubuksan inyong mga balikbayan boxes basta ito ay walang laman. Kasi x-ray natin, walang pagbubukas. Ang tawag natin dyan ay non-intrusive inspection. Meaning, idaan lang sa x-ray. Kung may makita tayong anomalya doon, mayroong proseso.
Commissioner Faeldon also assures that those incidents will never happen again. The Bureau also wants to gain back the trust of the public by strictly implementing policies against corruption. In the Get It Straight program with Daniel Razon, Faeldon said that they need additional X-ray scanners.
May witness tayong third party, naka-video po yan bago siya bubuksan para makita kung ano nilalaman ito.
Do we have enough X-ray machines, sir, ngayon para po mag-facilitate nitong lahat ng mga dumadating na balikbayan boxes?
If we have 10 more doon sa
Additional.
major ports, para mas mabilis,
magdadagdag.
we need to add para there will be no undue delays in the processes.
Kung ako ang nagpadala ng balikbayan box, halimbawa may nakita kayo dun sa loob, dapat wag niyong buksan hanggang wala ako. Ganun po ba yan?
Meron tayong third party as witness. These are NGOs accredited to witness.
BOC reminds the public to make sure that they send their boxes in legitimate forwarders so they can trace and make sure that the boxes will be delivered on the expected date. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Bureau of Customs.
The latest Pulse Asia survey shows that most Filipinos see the need to increase workers' pay as the main concern among national issues. 46% of Filipinos say this should be the first national issue that the Duterte administration needs to immediately address. Second is the creation of more jobs. Third is controlling inflation. This is followed by fighting corruption in government, reducing poverty, and fighting criminality in the country. The survey was conducted from September 25 to October 1, 2016 through face-to-face interviews with 1,200 respondents.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority and the Metro Manila Council have agreed to extend the number coding scheme and expand the areas covered by the no window hours policy. Joanna will tell us why.
The strict implementation of the no window hours policy has started today. A total of 96 private vehicles were apprehended today by the Interagency Council for Traffic or IAC due to violation of the said policy. Under the new traffic scheme, vehicles covered by the number coding scheme are not allowed to pass along some major roads within Metro Manila from 7 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock in the evening. Last week, the IAC has conducted a dry run of the policy, and based on their assessment, travel time of the motorists was reduced.
Lumilis ng 10 minutes it used to be 1 hour 27 minutes from Caloocan to Ross Boulevard. So less 10 minutes yan nung Wednesday. Nung Thursday nadagdagan pa no, almost 15. Pero on Friday bumagal ulit to about 12-14 parang.
Earlier today, the MMDA and the Metro Manila mayors met and agreed to expand the areas covered by the no window hours policy. Apart from EDSA, C5 Road, Ross Boulevard, Mandaluyong, Makati, and Las Piñas, the said order will also be implemented in Radial Road 1 to Radial 10 as well as C1 to C6 Road. This means that cities such as Valenzuela, Malabon, Caloocan, Navotas, and provinces like Cavite, Laguna, Rizal, and Bulacan will also be covered by the implementation of the new traffic scheme. The local executives also approved to extend the hours of number coding scheme until 8 o'clock in the evening.
They are also approving an expanded application of the no window scheme. By the way, yung una pala, it's the inaprubahan nila, not 7 to 7 but 7 to 8.
However, some groups oppose the suspension of window hours among private vehicles.
Kaya tayo naglagay ng window hour para pwede mong ma-schedule yung activities mo after the van, between 10 to 3. So, hindi ka gagalaw between 7 to 10, tapos i-schedule mo yung activities mo 10 to 3. No? So, ang palaging tinatanong ng tao, ano ang sasakyan namin as alternative? May offer bang gobyerno na matino na public transport system?
The MMDA plans to start the extended hour of number coding scheme next week, while the expanded areas for the implementation of no window hours will start on November. Joanna, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasig City.
The chairman of the House Committee on Ways and Means disapproves the proposal to lift the value-added tax exemption for senior citizens. Yoshiko Sato will tell us why.
Committee on Ways and Means Chairman Quirino Representative Carlo Cua disapproves the proposal to remove the value-added tax exemption for senior citizens. Cua clarifies that the removal of the VAT for the elderly will just contribute 6 to 10 billion pesos in revenue. Instead, Cua suggests making the guidelines on VAT exemptions tighter.
So ang ating pinakiusap sa kanila, kung ganun din lang naman kalit at tatanggalan natin ng privilege ang ating mga senior citizens and persons with disabilities, can we explore working with the legislature, between the legislature and the DOF, kung paano kami makakatulong maging mas tighter yung regime ng exemptions on senior citizens.
The Duterte administration's tax reform package includes increasing the excise tax of petroleum products and reducing the personal tax rate to 25%.
Ang kritik kasi ng ibang mga kasama natin dito sa Kongreso ay kailangan kumpleto ang tax reform package na maging mas efficient ang collection ng BIR.
It is expected that the issue on lifting the tax exemption for senior citizens as well as persons with disability will have to go through scrupulous debates before passing the lower house of the Congress. Yoshiko Sata, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Supporters of late former President Ferdinand Marcos hold a vigil at the Supreme Court a day before the High Tribunal tackles the case in its en banc session. Roderick Mendoza will tell us why.
Ilocos Norte Governor Amy Marcos led hundreds of supporters in calling on the Supreme Court to allow the interment of the remains of late President Ferdinand Marcos at dalibingan ng mga bayani.
Kaya kami ay magvivigil buong gabi hanggang sa botohan bukas at magdadasal ng puspusan at matindi.
She says they wanted closure to the burial issue and allow national healing and reconciliation. She adds President Duterte's words that he is supporting Marcos's burial was encouraging.
At nabigyan kami ng lakas ng loob nung sinabi niya na talagang eto na. Sa akin bilang abogado, dapat sundan ang batas. Maliwanag ang batas.
6 petitions opposing Marcos' burial are pending before the Supreme Court. The petitioners are insisting that a dictator and human rights violator should not be honored as a hero. The Supreme Court is expected to deliberate on the case as the status quo order that barred the interment of Marcos at dalibingan ng mga bayani will already lapse tomorrow. Roderick Mendoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Big-time drug lord Kerwin Espinosa is expected to arrive soon in the country. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
The PNP Anti-Illegal Drugs Group is now preparing the necessary documents for the immediate deportation of Eastern Visayas big-time drug lord Kerwin Espinosa. He was arrested by the Abu Dhabi Police at early dawn today, according to PNP Chief Police Director General Ronald Bato de la Rosa.
Pumunta siya doon sa mga travel agency kung nagpapatulong kung paano extend yung kanyang stay doon. Doon nalaman na mga trabahante doon sa building na yon, yung travel agency.
Kerwin has a standing warrant of arrest for illegal possession of firearms and explosives in Albuera, Leyte. This was after firearms and explosives were found in his home.
Nagpalabas na yung warrant, pinadala natin through Interpol. Interpol nagbigay ng advice doon sa police ng Abu Dhabi. Kasi naman, kahit na nandoon nauna na doon yung ating team para mag-coordinate through the layaso natin doon. So, sumunod na yung ating Interpol Red Notice papunta doon para mahuli na kagad.
Kerwin's father, Albuera Leyte Mayor Rolando Espinosa, was the first to be arrested last October 5 due to charges of illegal drugs and illegal possession of firearms and explosives. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Filipinos have been instrumental for the Abu Dhabi Police in the arrest of drug lord Kerwin Espinosa. Jun Surya will tell us why.
Police Senior Superintendent Albert Ignatius Ferro of the PNP-AIDG reports that the Abu Dhabi Police has been conducting surveillance of the whereabouts of Kerwin Espinosa, the most wanted drug lord in Eastern Visayas, prior to his arrest this morning. In an interview with UNTV News, Philippine Ambassador Constancio Vigno explains that Kerwin entered to Abu Dhabi from Hong Kong sometime around 2nd or 3rd week of September. He adds that the Interpol had been monitoring his activities since the Philippine National Police sought the international agency's assistance for the arrest of the younger Espinosa. Meanwhile, Superintendent Ferro says Espinosa was arrested through the help of fellow Filipinos who recognized him.
Kilala niyo si Sandra Camp. Siya po ay may may services dito, may parang cleaning services. At yun po yung mga empleyado niya at siya po ay nakapangasawa ng Middle Eastern national at yun po ang tumulong sa atin para matukoy yung eksaktong kinaroroonan.
For now, Espinosa is under the custody of Abu Dhabi's Ministry of Interior. Meanwhile, Ferro says they are awaiting the go signal of the UAE authorities to see Kerwin in person. He warns all criminals at large to better surrender and refrain from escaping the country because their liberty will not be for long.
Kahit saan man sila magpunta, kahit saan man sila magtago, kung may kasabihin nga sa English na crime does not pay, di ba? So, kahit saan siya mahahanap natin siya. So, yung mga kababayan natin na may balak na magtago sa ibang bansa, kayo po ay binabalaan namin na hindi kayo matutukoy din kayo. Mas maigi pa surrender na lang siguro kayo.
Jun Suriao, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Motorists are experiencing moderate to heavy traffic in some areas in Metro Manila this evening. Mon Ocson is at Quezon Avenue to tell us why live. Yes, Mon.
Yes, Darlene, let us check the traffic situation through our different live points around Metro Manila. But first, let us check the traffic situation here in Quezon Avenue. Vehicles coming from EDSA going to Quezon Avenue will not encounter any problem as of this moment. But for eastbound vehicles coming from España, they will experience moderate traffic starting from EDSA up to Elliptical Road. Let us now check the traffic situation in Philcoa Technohub along Commonwealth Avenue. Vehicles from Philcoa to Tandang Sora will experience moderate traffic going to Technohub. But vehicles from Tandang Sora to Philcoa will experience light traffic around the area. Let's check EDSA Guadalupe. Vehicles from Ayala and Guadalupe going to Shaw Boulevard will experience moderate to heavy traffic this rush hour Monday. And also southbound vehicles from Mandaluyong going to Ayala in Makati will also experience moderate to heavy traffic in the said area. Let's go further south in Baclaran Ross Boulevard. Motorists going to Manila will experience light to moderate traffic along Ross Boulevard, while vehicles going to Coastal from Baclaran will experience light traffic. Let us check España Blumentritt in Manila. For westbound vehicles, particularly going to UST, will experience moderate traffic near the university. And also for students going home that will traverse España going to Welcome Rotunda, they will experience moderate traffic also in the said area. Let's go north along UE Samson Road in Caloocan. Light traffic for vehicles going to Monumento and light traffic also for vehicles going to Sangandaan, Caloocan and C4 Navotas. Let's check the last live point along Magsaysay Boulevard, corner G. Araneta. Vehicles going to Cubao will experience moderate traffic, and for those vehicles going to Nagtahan Bridge will experience light to moderate traffic around the area. Reminders to motorists, number coding is implemented tomorrow starting from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. because the Metro Manila Council has approved the extension of the number coding. All vehicles with plate numbers ending in numbers 3 and 4 is prohibited in all major roads in Metro Manila. And that's our traffic update. Back to you, Darlene.
Thank you, Mon. And that's Mon Ocson reporting live from Quezon Avenue.
Next in Y News. The lower house maintains that its committee report regarding the alleged Bilibid drug trade does not include prosecution against personalities.
The Office of the Ombudsman says there is no reason to investigate Senator Laila De Lima just yet.
And the Philippines and Brunei see a stronger future together in terms of trade and investments. Following President Rodrigo Duterte's bilateral meeting today with Sultan Haji Hassanal Bolkiah.
Y News will be right back. The Armed Forces of the Philippines confirms that the new People's Army is still recruiting members in spite of its unilateral ceasefire with the government. Brian De Paz will tell us why.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, is committed to its unilateral ceasefire with the new People's Army, or NPA. The AFP says they did not use the Internal Peace and Security Plan Bayanihan, or IPSP Bayanihan, to continue their military operations against the NPA. IPSP Bayanihan emphasizes that the primary focus of the AFP in the conduct of its operations is winning peace and not just defeating the enemy. Also, the new IPSP is a document open to the public to signify the AFP's intent to draw on the support of the broadest spectrum of stakeholders.
Malinaw ang tagubilin ng ating Commander-in-Chief at sinundan ng tagubilin ng ating Chief of Staff, General Ricardo Bisaya, for the suspension of military operations. Ang IPSP Bayanihan ay isang paraan na isang plan na hindi naman necessarily combat operations ang ating objective. Sa IPSP Bayanihan, ang ating objective dito is for a whole of nation approach.
Meanwhile, the AFP confirms that there are reports that the new People's Army is still on with its recruitment activities. But there is no clear mechanism under the unilateral ceasefire if the said recruitment is a violation.
Kung merong ganitong nangyayari na recruitment, as I was saying earlier, what we're going to do is to take note of this, record it, and bring it up in the proper forum.
The AFP believes that if the government has bilateral ceasefire agreement, it can clear the issues about the recruitment.
Wala pa kasi tayong bilateral ceasefire agreement. Wala pang malinaw na definition na ang isang ginagawang activity ng isa sa dalawang nag-uusap can be considered a violation.
Brian De Paz, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Aguinaldo.
The chairman of the House Committee on Justice reiterates that its report regarding the alleged new Bilibid drug trade does not include prosecution against personalities. Nel Maribohok will tell us why.
The chairman of the House Committee on Justice, Reynaldo Umali, refutes the purported content of the draft of the committee report on the investigation on the alleged illegal drug trade in new Bilibid prisons.
I just would like to have a clarification from the chair on that statement that there was no evidence against De Lima.
I did not utter those words. I did not give any statement to any media on that particular point.
Umali emphasizes that although almost all witnesses are linking De Lima in the issue, they will not recommend any prosecutions to those who are said to be involved in NBP illegal drug trade, as previously directed by House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez.
Yung link ni De Lima ay lahat yun ay sinabi ng lahat ng mga witnesses. Di ba? Yung nag-deliver, etc., etc. Wala namang nag-rebut nun, walang nag-controvert nun. So, perhaps it will not be difficult to answer that.
Meanwhile, even though the House probe already concluded, the lower house will still pursue the arrest of De Lima's former driver, Ronnie Dayan. The committee says it will leave to the DOJ the preliminary investigation of NBP illegal drug trade and the filing of complaints against those who are allegedly involved in the controversy. Senator De Lima, on the other hand, says she will await the said committee report.
Is that final already? Na wala silang recommendation for my prosecution? Of course, syempre maganda yan kung ganun nga. But remember, sa akin naman nakafocus yung inquiry nila eh. So, para kayon.
The House Committee on Justice will resume its executive session tomorrow morning to finalize the report. Nel Maribohok, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
The Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights will have to delay the release of the committee report on alleged cases of extrajudicial killings. Joyce Balancho will tell us why.
The Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights will have to discuss first among its members the contents of their report on the alleged cases of extrajudicial killings before releasing it to the public.
So we have finished the first draft. We'll talk about it right now. Kain lang kami sandali and we'll go over the first draft. Tapos na yon. And we'll go with the second draft siguro and hopefully as early as tomorrow and as late as Wednesday.
Committee Chair Senator Richard Gordon says after 6 hearings on the extrajudicial killings, they have not found any evidence that will implicate President Rodrigo Duterte. There's also no proof to Edgar Matubato's statement on the existence of the Davao Death Squad and the connection of the President to the rising spate of killings.
The fact that sinasabi ng Presidente kalaban natin ang drugs, the fact na tinanggal niya yung maskara ng 5 general, that opened the dam na barilin yung mga konektado na pulis sa mga drugs. Naniniwala ko maraming pulis na involved dyan. Pero is that state-sponsored? No. Sila mismo gumagalaw.
Gordon says he does not want to tarnish the reputation and the image of Duterte to the international community, stating that the International Criminal Court or the ICC has already expressed concern over rising number of killings in the country. Though the testimony of Matubato will not be part of the committee report, Gordon discloses that they will recommend a perjury case to be filed against him for his supposed inconsistent statements in the hearing and a murder case for his confessed crimes as a hitman. Senator Laila de Lima, however, says the committee should also hear the testimonies of all the witnesses of the Commission on Human Rights before concluding the hearing.
To me, it's still premature. Kasi bakit hindi na papakinggan yung mga other CHR witnesses? So, any conclusion that the killings are not state-sponsored, to me, would also be premature.
The committee report, Gordon says, will also include proposed legislative measures to expedite the investigation of criminal and administrative liabilities of policemen who are caught abusing powers or not following standard procedures. Joyce Balancho, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
The Office of the Ombudsman will not yet conduct an investigation against Senator Laila de Lima. Mon Hokson tells us why.
The Ombudsman will not conduct a motu proprio investigation against Senator Laila de Lima. Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales says all evidence thrown against de Lima are all still allegations.
It's not going to happen because lahat naman allegations itong mga ito wala pa namang lead talaga na that would prompt us to initiate our investigation.
Morales added that they will start the investigation if there is a complaint filed against the senator. Recently, the Chief of Police of Albuera Leyte filed a complaint against de Lima at the Office of the Ombudsman Visayas. Morales said that all cases concerning high-ranking officials must be forwarded to their office if it came from other regions. But the complaint has not reached their office. Meanwhile, no case will be filed against the 5 PNP generals allegedly involved in drug trade until the PNP is done with their own investigation.
Wala pa because the police people had been tasked to conduct their own investigations, and it's just going to be an exercise in futility if we ourselves initiate also conducting because galing rin sa police ang facts na mangyayari.
The Ombudsman is currently conducting a lifestyle check on 5 PNP generals involved in the drug trade. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasig City.
Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process Secretary Jesus Doreza says formal talks with the Moro National Liberation Front founding Chairman Nurmi Suari may still take time before it materializes. Victor Cosare tells us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte has previously stated that he wants to talk to Moro National Liberation Front founding chairman Nurmi Suari as part of his efforts to bring peace in Mindanao. According to Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process, Secretary Jesus Doreza, Ms. Suari is an important component of the peace talks in southern Philippines. However, the formal talks might still take time as the Justice Department is still on the process of taking the necessary legal remedies for Ms. Suari to be able to freely come out in the open. The rebel leader is facing criminal charges in relation to the 2013 Zamboanga siege.
The necessary motions have been filed and that we hope that if the court because we always have to follow the regular judicial procedures. If the court will grant it, then we'll be able to already address his legal status.
Meanwhile, Duresa also states that they are still awaiting the executive order for the Bangsamoro Transition Commission or BTC. The BTC will take charge of drafting the proposed Bangsamoro Basic Law that will be submitted to Congress after the first proposed BBL was not enacted into law during the previous Congress. In the new EO, the composition of the BTC will be raised from 15 to 21, where majority or 11 of its members will come from the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. Duresa, on the other hand, says that other sectors will not be left behind in crafting the draft legislation because representatives from different sectoral groups will be selected to form part of the 10 delegates of government in the BTC.
But we cannot get everybody in. What we're thinking is we will get some eminent names who will probably represent not only just a tribe, but a sector who can, as being an eminent person, who can convene it and listen to their inputs so that they can bring it up into the enabling law that will be submitted to Congress.
It can be recalled that when the previous BBL was being deliberated in Congress, among the issues raised was the non-inclusion of some sectors in Mindanao in the formulation of the law that was supposed to create an autonomous region that will replace the existing ARMM. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Davao City.
The Philippines and Brunei see a stronger future together in terms of trade and investment. March Navarro will tell us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte and Sultan Haji Hassan al-Bolkiah have discussed certain cooperations between the two countries during a bilateral meeting this afternoon at the Sultan's official residence in Istana Nurul Iman. The two leaders discussed two-way trade and investments. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez says the two leaders agreed on the expansion of Brunei companies in fast-growing economies, such as that of the Philippines in terms of agribusiness, tourism, and energy. The two leaders also agreed on a cooperation in achieving a drug-free ASEAN. Before the bilateral meeting, the president met with the Filipino community in Brunei, where he insisted that he won't back down just because of the criticisms of various groups and even world leaders against his anti-drug war.
Why am I here? I am here because I love my country and I love the Filipino people. Kaya ganon, do not destroy my country because I will kill you.
Aside from illegal drugs, the president also assured his audience of eradicating corruption in the country.
I give you my word. I give you my honor. Talagang malinis itong gobyerno to.
Tomorrow, the president will fly to China, where he is expected to sign several important agreements, such as a cooperation with China in the area of fisheries as part of the solution to the maritime dispute in the West Philippine Sea. Marge Navarro, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee resumes today its inquiry on the alleged black sand mining in Zambales, which is being linked to China's reclamation activities in the Bajo Masinloc, or commonly known as the Scarborough Shoal. Joyce Balancho tells us why.
There are no reclamation activities in the disputed Bajo Masinloc or Scarborough Shoal. This is what former Zambales Governor Hermogenes Ebdane Jr. told the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee when it resumed its inquiry today on the alleged black sand mining in the province. Ebdane is accused of having sold 2 mountains in the province that were allegedly used to build islands in the Scarborough Shoal. The former governor denies all these allegations.
I cannot sell something that is not mine and over which I have no authority. The so-called presence of the Chinese military is ridiculous. Perhaps an overflight by the Philippine Air Force can confirm.
In fact, the Department of National Defense also says they have not found any reclamation activity in the disputed area.
And the Philippine Navy went there last September 18 and they found 4 Chinese Coast Guard and 2 fishing vessels. There was no reclamation. There was no reclamation at Bajo Masinloc.
Senator Richard Gordon, who is the chair of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, says he is not convinced that there is no illegal activity happening in the area, especially since many have reported seeing vehicles transporting minerals from the mountains.
There is an inordinate amount of trucking. Ang dami. Daan libo, papasalamat ako sa NAMRIA because napakita nila yung extent talaga ng pag-damage sa ating bundok. At lumalabas talaga napakaraming truck ang ginamit para ilabas. Nakakaduda kung bakit ganon. Now, it could be happening elsewhere.
Senator Gordon says the committee will have another hearing to thoroughly discuss the impact of large-scale mining in Zambales, since many residents have complained that their health and livelihood activities are also affected. The senator adds that they will also look into possible evasion of taxes by mining companies and the purported lack of monitoring and oversight by the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Joyce Balancho, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
Senior citizens in an elderly care facility in Melbourne, Australia had a great time singing and dancing with some youth volunteers. Naomi Baking will tell us why.
As part of the public services that UNTV volunteers and members Church of God International always advocate, Youth Volunteers in Australia has initiated another elderly care visit on Saturday, October 15. The group entertained the elderly with old-time favorite love songs from the 60s and the 70s. Excitement was felt all throughout the program. One of the residents even played the harmonica as her way of jamming with the youth volunteers, while the rest continued with their joyful entertainment by clapping and waving their hands.
It was so beautiful. There was such good coordination. Their voices were like singing birds, and we all loved it very much. Thank you.
The elderly are considered residents. They were entrusted by their relatives to the aged care facility. Some of them have already lost the fondest memories of their youth.
Can I say? Well, especially for the residents, they loved your music. You guys came before, I think 2 or 3 times before, and they really enjoyed it. So when I came back from my holidays, one of the residents remembered and she asked when the kids are coming back. So I asked one of your colleagues if we can have you guys back, and loved you back on the floor. So it was fantastic.
At the end of the program, all were overjoyed to see how happy the elderly had become, and they were all shouting as if they did not want the day to end. It is for the 3rd time that the Youth Volunteer has conducted this kind of public service here in Melbourne. The next one will be a few months from now and is already being looked forward to by the Australian elderly. Naomi Baking for Serbisyong Kasambahay.
Coming up, the Taiwan government clarifies its privilege to children of foreign professionals aged 20 or above.
Typhoon Karen exits the Philippine Area of Responsibility while Typhoon Lawin enters PAR.
And UNTV anchors who join the cast and give their best in Kuya Daniel's advocacy film, Isang Araw Ikatlong Yugto.
More from Y News after this break. Typhoon Lawin has entered the Philippine Area of Responsibility. As of 5:30 p.m. today, the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAGASA, says it located the cyclone at 1,155 kilometers east of Virac, Catanduanes, packing a maximum sustained winds of 175 kilometers per hour and gustiness of 215 kilometers per hour, while moving west-northwest at 24 kilometers per hour. PAGASA says the eye of Typhoon Lawin may make landfall in Cagayan on Thursday and may pass through Apayao and Ilocos Norte. It has no direct effect in the country, but high waves will occur in northern and western seaboards of northern Luzon and western seaboard of central Luzon. Cloudy skies with light to moderate rains will be experienced in regions of Ilocos, Cordillera, Cagayan Valley, and provinces of Zambales and Bataan. Isolated rain showers and thunderstorms will prevail in Metro Manila and the rest of the country. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, directs its regional councils to undertake precautionary measures for Typhoon Lawin. Brian De Paz will tell us why.
The NDRRM Operations Center has disseminated its Typhoon Lawin advisory to all civil defense regional offices. The agency has directed its regional offices to undertake precautionary measures in their areas of responsibility and local DRRMC to initiate preemptive evacuation of families, particularly in low-lying areas and mountainous areas if situation warrants.
Ngayon pa lamang, nagbibigay na tayo ng advisory sa ating lokal na pamahalaan at bukod doon tayo rin ay nagbibigay na ng abiso sa ating mga local agencies na mag-replenish na ng kanilang mga ginamit na mga food and non-food items, na mga equipment, at iba pang mga paghahanda para po dito sa maaaring mag-epekto ng bagyong Lawin.
The government reminds mountaineers, especially the beginners, to follow the accredited mountaineer organization on observing protocol during calamity.
Karamihan po dito sa naitala natin, mga baguhan po ito na mountaineers. Para po magkaroon kayo ng guidance kung ano po yung protocol pag kayo po ay aakyat po ng bundok, makiisa po kayo sa mga accredited na natin at registered na mga mountaineering organizations.
Meanwhile, Typhoon Karen has left a 2.1 billion peso worth of damage to agriculture at its wake. Most of the damage is from the province of Aurora, Bulacan, Nueva Ecija, Pampanga, and Tarlac. The NDRRMC welcomes the cooperation of residents in the preemptive evacuation to reduce the effects and danger on lives.
Marami na sa ating mga kababayan ang masasabi natin ang nakikiisa sa ating preemptive evacuation. Kung noon talaga years ago, babalikan natin, napakarami at napakahirap kumbinsihin ng ating mga kababayan makiisa sa evacuation.
Brian De Paz, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Aguinaldo.
After heavy rain submerged most houses in central Vietnam, residents braced themselves anew for another storm. RJ Timoteo will tell us why.
Floods in Vietnam's four central provinces have killed at least 11 people and displaced thousands, with a storm in the South China Sea approaching the central coast. Flooding from very heavy rainfall brought by a tropical low-pressure system since last week have cut food supplies to thousands of people and blocked north-south traffic, the government said in a statement on Saturday. 7 people drowned or were electrocuted in Quang Binh province. 4 others were killed in 3 nearby provinces, and at least 30,000 homes were submerged, according to government reports. Dozens of foreign tourists were among passengers stranded on 22 trains in the affected region, prompting provincial authorities to provide food and water, while many flights to the region were cancelled. Tropical storm Sarika, now in the Philippines, is moving towards Vietnam's central region and could bring more rain to the affected areas in the coming days. RJ Timoteo, UNTV News and Rescue, Vietnam.
The Department of Health Central Office will send 3 personnel to Bacolod City tomorrow following the alleged poisoning incident. Robbie De Guzman will tell us why.
3 personnel of the Department of Health Central Office are expected to arrive in Bacolod City tomorrow to investigate the alleged food poisoning at Tandumanan Elementary School 1, as DOH Region 6 has yet to identify the real cause of the children's stomach ache, diarrhea, and vomiting. Over 90 school children are still confined in different hospitals in Bacolod City due to the suspected food poisoning allegedly caused by the contaminated food bought from the school canteen and from food stalls outside the school. Initial findings show that the food and drink taken by the students are positive for amoeba.
May mga special test pakita nga obrahon out of the hindi ma-detect sang laboratory diri. So that is why we will be sending specimens sa RITM. Kaya mo na siyang aton nga National Referral Laboratory.
At present, selling food inside and outside Handumanan Elementary School is prohibited while the investigation is ongoing. Classes also remain suspended until Thursday. Ropi de Guzman, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Nightlife is subdued, wedding receptions are cancelled, and for the first time in years, the red light districts in the heart of the Thai capital have suspended operations. Gerry de Ocampo will tell us why.
มหากษัตริย์ของพระมหากษัตริย์ของคนไทยครับเมื่อท่านสวรรคตไปยังไงทุกคนต้องเสียใจอยู่แล้วแต่เนื่องด้วยพิธีตอนเช้าเป็นงานทางประเพณีพิธีทางศาสนาก็จัดตามฤกษ์ไม่ได้เลิกอะไรแต่ว่างานเย็นมันคือการเลี้ยงฉลองซึ่งผมเห็นว่ามันยังไม่สมควรสภาพจิตใจของคนไทยทุกคนยังไม่พร้อมที่จะมีงานเลี้ยงฉลองตอนนี้
The death on Thursday of Thailand's beloved king has plunged the country into an unprecedented period of mourning and closures, and cancellations are unlikely to last more than a month or have any serious long-term impact on tourism. Though Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has declared a one-year mourning period and urged people to refrain from organizing entertainment events for 30 days, he still urged businesses to remain open to ensure the nation does not lose its credibility. The Tourism Authority of Thailand confirmed in a statement that tourist attractions will remain open, with the exemption of the Gold Gildan Grand Palace, because it will be the venue of the royal funeral rites. The subdued atmosphere that has engulfed the country since the king's death is obvious, visible in the black or white dress worn by millions of Thais in a massive show of mourning. No foreign government has suggested its nationals to cancel trip plans, but several have issued advisories.
การดูไม่อยากสนุกมันไม่มีอะไรต้องสนุกแล้วความสุขมันไปแล้วค่ะขอท่านก็เลยมาขอคืนตั๋วค่ะ
Canada, Britain, and the US urge their citizens to refrain from any disrespectful or disorderly behavior and maintain decorum during the country's period of profound mourning. More than 30 million tourists visit Thailand every year, accounting for about 10% of government revenue. The government says the impact on the economy doesn't matter, though it admits that tourism in the country is likely to wither during the mourning period. Gerry de Ocampo, UNTV News and Rescue, Bangkok, Thailand.
Children of foreign workers in Taiwan may stay even after they turn 20 as the Taiwan government clarifies its rules and regulations. Amel Pascual tells us why.
Taiwan Ministry of Interior has clarified that children of foreign professionals in the country can apply to stay in even if they are aged 20 or above. This is to rebut rumors that children of foreign nationals in Taiwan can stay in the country after they reach that age. The National Immigration Agency has made such clarification in response to recent internet rumors about the issue that forces children of expats to part with their families and thus affecting their career plans.
Mas mahabang time yung makakasama nila yung mga anak nila. Hindi na nila kailangan umuwi palagi ng kumbaga kung saang bansa sila. At least mas mabawasan din yung time and yung effort saka yung gastos ba para pag-uwi-uwi at pabalik-balik.
Maganda po yung in-implement na regulation na gano'n ng Taiwan, yung may extend yung visa ng anak na nakadepende sa visa ng magulang, yung foreign worker dito, na mas makakasama nila ng matagal yung anak nila. Tapos hindi rin nila iisipin kasi sa edad na yon hindi pa rin naman gano'ng ka-mature yung isip ng bata.
According to the regulations, foreign nationals permitted to reside in Taiwan and who have reached the age of 20 or above can apply for an extension of residency if they meet the requirements and provided that one of their parents holding an alien resident certificate or an alien permanent resident certificate. The regulation further stipulated that if their applications are approved, they will be granted 3 years of extension in Taiwan, with a second extension of 3 more years. They can remain in Taiwan for up to 6 years. The ministry explained that the amendments to the regulations were made as an incentive to attract more foreign professionals to come to work in Taiwan. Amel Pascual, UNTV News and Rescue, Taiwan.
The United Kingdom is urged to provide asylum to a number of children at the Calais encampment in France. June Garin will tell us why.
The Cali Prefecture has confirmed that around 24 unaccompanied minors are bound for a new life in Britain. The children have been living in squalid conditions in the Cali encampment, where charities estimate up to 10,000 migrants from Africa, the Middle East, and Asia have settled in the hope of reaching Britain. The camp faces demolition. The departure comes after French Interior Minister Bernard Cazeneuve announced last week that he was asking Britain to assume its moral duty by accepting unaccompanied children with family in the UK.
With the children identified as having family members in the UK, there obviously measures have to be taken now to ensure that that family unification happens. It's done in an orderly manner, and we don't see people going missing along the way, and that means the rest of this population of children too. So proper asylum processes, child-friendly reception places, all the measures needed for children are now very important so that this can be properly resolved.
The British Red Cross has said 178 unaccompanied children in the camp have already been identified as having the right to claim asylum in Britain due to their family links. In a statement to Parliament Monday, Home Secretary Amber Rudd insisted that Britain was ready to cooperate with France on the issue, but that an agreement had not yet been reached. It was also on Saturday that the construction of a new wall designed to block migrant access to the Calais port started. When complete, the wall will stretch for around a kilometer or 0.6 miles and add to some 30 kilometers of existing wire fences along the road leading to the port. The jungle has become a symbol of Europe's biggest migrant crisis since the World War II and a major source of Anglo-French tensions, leading President François Hollande to demand that the site be demolished before the end of 2016. June Garin, UNTV News and Rescue, Paris, France.
The local government of Tokyo is planning its fire and earthquake safety measures ahead of the Tokyo Olympics. Danny Tegzon will tell us why.
The Japanese government has started discussions on a strategy for guiding foreign tourists to safety in case of fires and earthquakes. This is in preparation to host the 2020 Olympics and Paralympics in Tokyo. A panel under the Fire and Disaster Management Agency will compile the strategy around March 2018, which will then be provided to municipalities, stadiums, airport buildings, and other major facilities. The panel will consider installing digital screens within such facilities and displaying emergency earthquake alerts and escape routes in multiple languages. Currently, there are no official guidelines on notifying foreigners of disasters or evacuation procedures, with facilities largely left to their own device. But the government has started preparing safety measures for foreign visitors. Danny Tigzon, UNTV News and Rescue, Japan.
The MMDA Black Wolves and the GSIS Furies both bagged crucial wins, while the BOC Transformers takes the lead in Group B after claiming its fourth straight win in the UNTV Cup Season 5 first elimination round. Bernard Daddies tells us why.
The Bureau of Customs Transformers have claimed their fourth win in an overtime game against the PNP responders yesterday at the Pasig City Sports Center. However, it was not an easy victory for the Transformers, as the three-time runner-up team PNP first led in the ball game with its fast offense. During the last 22 seconds of the fourth quarter, the PNP was leading by 3 points, but Marlo Aquino stole the ball from Olan Umiping and made a quick layup, cutting the lead to only 72-71.
Olan!
PNP's Japet Cabahog made 2 free throw shots to regain the lead with only 12 seconds left in the ball game. The BOC was not disheartened until Michael Anthony Sumalinog nailed a 3-point buzzer beater.
It's Sumalinog! Oh boy! It's good!
Sumalinog with 18 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists, and Marlo Aquino with 25 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 block were hailed as the best players of the game. BOC now leads in Group B with its clean 4-0 win-loss record.
Alzani hinulog para kay Cuevas.
kalugan binigay kay Bansali, inilag.
Meanwhile, both the GSIS Furies and the MMDA Black Wolves won their must-win games yesterday at the Pasig City Sports Center. The GSIS Furies defeated the DOJ Justice Boosters 94-84. It was the Furies' first ever win in Season 5. Currently, the DOJ is now at the bottom of Group B following its loss against the Furies with 4 losses and 0 win. And in the second game of the triple header, the MMDA Black Wolves brought home its first victory after defeating the Ombudsman Gropbusters 92-82. The Black Wolves dominated the first half, but the Gropbusters made a huge comeback, making a 16-point lead towards the end of the third quarter, 70-54. However, the MMDA did not surrender and turned the situation upside down during the last quarter. At present, the MMDA and the Ombudsman of Group A both have 1-2 win-loss record. Bernard Dalis for the UNTV Cup Season 5.
Australians celebrate the 100th centennial anniversary of Sydney's treasured Taronga Zoo. Early Briones will tell us why.
A spectacular parade of giant lighted animal figures dazzled the streets from Hyde Park all the way to Sydney Opera House to mark Taronga Zoo's 100th year. A cast of singing and dancing school children, together with some volunteers and staff, joined the light parade. They were welcomed by the public who took part in the celebration with fun and excitement.
Oh, I think it's great. It's probably one of the best zoos I reckon, in the world.
The parade required for some of the roads to be closed for more than 12 hours, and some spectators felt nostalgic about the history of the zoo.
They built Taronga on a hill, and the trams had to go from the ferry wharf up to the top gate. So the engineers were forced to let big trams run on hills. So they had big 80-seater trams. So it actually altered Sydney's transport, Taronga Park Zoo. It's something people don't know about, but and also you realise the old bear pits are still at the old site.
Authorities have been very visible in securing the place as the crowd enjoyed the show. Both the adults and children alike were mesmerized by the 10 lighted animals featured in the parade, which included an Asian elephant, a platypus, and a Sumatran tiger. The zoo's symbolic representation to its commitment to preserve critically endangered species all over the world. A spectacular grand finale highlighted a dance performance took place in front of the Opera House.
The iconic Taronga Zoo has evolved over the course of a century, became a champion for animal conservation, and one of Sydney's tourist main attractions. Early Briones, UNTV News and Rescue, Sydney, Australia.
Watch out for some of our co-anchors as they totally transform themselves into fight scenes of the advocacy film, Isang Araw, Ikatlong Yugto. Brian Evangelista will tell us why.
The much-awaited movie, Isang Araw Lang Ikatlong Yugto, is not only studded by stars from the Philippine movie industry, but it also features UNTV's very own news anchors. Talia Javier feels very blessed for being a part of Kuya Daniel's advocacy film.
Ang daming nagbago sa akin nung nag-start ako sa UNTV kasi nung pumasok ako, talagang 18 pa lang ako noon eh. So kinuha ako nila kuya. Talagang natuwa ako kasi binigyan nila ako ng chance na maging news anchor, na magbalita, mag-host. At ngayon, sinama nga nila ako dito sa movie.
For Monica Verallo, this advocacy film, Isang Araw Ikatlong Yugto, is indeed a challenge for her to be physically and emotionally fit. She observed how Miss Rina Villamor and Miss Arlene Razon made it seem easy performing well-choreographed fight scenes during rehearsal.
Yung nga sabi ni Kuya na, kaya mo yan, tutulungan ka naman namin along the way, hindi ka naman namin isasabak dyan na walang training. Ibibigay ko na lang yung 101% best ko.
Her role as a police officer also made her realize how risky the job of a real cop is.
Time na makakarinig ako na may pinasok na ganitong warehouse, may ginawang operasyon, parang nai-imagine ko yung sarili ko, what if ako yung mismong gumagawa nun? And bigla mong ma-appreciate yung efforts na ginagawa ng ating mga mga kasama mula sa PNP.
For news anchor William Theo, his transformation for this movie was not only on the outside but a gradual change that started from within through the years.
Sa kung tutuusin, matagal na rin akong host sa UNTV, and then I've always learned a lot from Kuya in all angles of my life. Isa akong tao kasi sa totoo lang wala talaga akong kapatid na older, and I don't have a father.
William is proud of doing this advocacy film as he firmly believes this movie will surely make a difference.
Kung gawa lang siya, it's easy to forget a job there. It's like a task. But if it's something that is in your heart, if it's etched in your heart, no matter what, it comes out as second nature sa totoo lang.
Brian Evangelista, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Those are the reasons behind the new October 17, 2016. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we delivered to you as they unfold. I'm Gerry Alcantara.
And I'm Darlene Basingan, because we need to know.
We will always ask why. Thank you for watching Y News.